Coming up on Central News tonight, knowing the new alcohol limits, the little boy fighting to grow, and how was the biggest party of the year? Kia ora, welcome to Central News for Tuesday, the 2nd of December. I'm Hilary Entwistle. Alcohol contributes to around 30% of New Zealand's fatal road crashes. Over the last 10 years, fatal crashes caused by drink driving have claimed the lives of around 1,100 people and caused serious injuries to another 5,300. As of yesterday, the alcohol limit for drivers aged 20 years and over lowers from 400 mcg of alcohol per litre of breath to 250 mcg. Guidance from the Institute of Environmental Science and Research indicates that most adults may be able to drink 2 standard drinks over 2 hours and are likely to remain under the new drink driving limits for adults. But can we rely on standard drink size being an exact science?
But everybody's different, and that's the problem. That we don't all metabolise alcohol or ingestive food at the same rate as others. So that's the big problem. It depends on the size, your gender, it depends on whether you've been eating, it depends on what activities you've been doing, it depends on a whole raft of things. So it's not an exact science, as you say. And so the important message has to be that if you're going to have a drink, then simply don't drive. It's that simple. And you know, friends and relatives have got a part to play in this. You know, if you're out there with your mates having a drink, don't let them drive. Make alternative arrangements to get them home.
Who do you think has the most difficulty gauging when they're over the limit? Is there a certain type of people?
No, I think everybody that's had a drink has that difficulty engaging whether in fact they would be under the limit. And so once again it comes back to that, you know, if you've had a drink, just simply don't drive, don't take that risk, because that risk can end in tragedy. You know, you can end up killing someone, injuring innocent road users. You can injure yourself, your passengers, or even worse.
Who is getting caught out the most? Is it women in their wine or men in their beers?
Look, to be honest, it's probably the men. Looking at Western Bay of Plenty statistics over the last 8 years, the men represent about between 72 and 74% of all drink drivers caught on Western Bay of Plenty roads. So they account for 3/4 of the problem, to be honest.
Is there a particular age range?
Yes, a lot of people are quick to blame the young people, but it's actually the middle-aged men and women that we catch more often than not these days. And in terms of the under-20s, the under-20s in the Western Bay, under-20 drink drive apprehensions in Western Bay have reduced from over 500 in 2008 down to 156 for last year. And that is an incredible change. And really the challenge is now for the adults to actually achieve the same results.
Some say that small towns have a culture of drunk driving. Do you think we can ever change that?
Look, we can change anything. You know, road safety is everybody's responsibility. If everybody just does something to make a difference, then we can change it for the better of all of New Zealand. Now I know that small town folk will tell you there's no public transport and they have to travel some distances from their local pub to home, but that shouldn't be an excuse, because there's plenty of family support, there's plenty of support from friends and parents and so on. I mean, I've been called at 1 o'clock in the morning to go and pick up my son, and happily do it anytime.
Okay, serious stuff. What about if we do get caught over the limit?
Well, the changes coming in on the 1st of December have actually introduced an infringement regime for those people that breach the lower level alcohol limits. So for an adult that has an evidential breath test result of between 251 and 400. There's an infringement fee for that payable within 28 days, and that infringement fee is $200, but it also incurs 50 demerit points. So if you accrue 100 or more demerit points in any 2-year period, then your license is suspended for 3 months. Provides a really good deterrent to actually drinking and driving as well. Now, in terms of the excess blood alcohol levels, there's still an infringement fee, and that's for the range between 51 milligrams of alcohol and 80. And that infringement fee is $700 and also includes 50 demerit points.
But what about if we're way over? What happens?
So if you're over the 400 micrograms of alcohol per litre of breath and over the 80 in the blood levels, then a charging document's prepared and you face court action. Maximum penalty for that is $4,500 fine, up to 3 months imprisonment, and a minimum mandatory disqualification from driving for 6 months. So pretty heavy penalties.
What about reoffenders? I mean, how many times do they have to get a slap on the hand until the judges, likely to sentence them to serve time?
Well, I think it depends a lot on the circumstances, to be honest. There are occasions where recidivist drink drivers are sentenced to custodial sentences. But what I can say is that if you drink and drive and you injure or you kill someone, then a custodial sentence is a big possibility.
And who are the repeat offenders? Is it your stereotypical young drunken male?
No, not the young drunken male at all, actually. It's the middle-aged men and women, the 30 to 50 age group range that are your main recidivist offenders.
Now, it's nearly the festive season, so the boys in blue are going to be out in force around the bay to try and enforce these new drink driving limits.
We sure are. Look, we've got Operation Profile running at the moment. That started on the 22nd of October and will run through to the 11th of January. Now, that targets drink and drug driver enforcement, and that ensures that the booze bus is deployed every single week during that time. In addition to that, every driver stopped by police can expect to be breath tested from here on in. And so if you've had a drink, then the chances are that you'll be breath tested.
What is your message then to viewers to take home from this, that we really need to learn about these new levels of blood alcohol?
Well, really, this change in lowering the breath and the blood alcohol limits is probably the greatest road safety initiative for all New Zealanders since the zero alcohol levels for under 20 drivers. So New Zealand's got a real opportunity here to actually make our roads much safer, to make sure that we save lives and injuries out there on New Zealand roads. So really the message is this. If you're going to drink at all, then simply don't drive. It's a no-brainer.
Remember, as of yesterday, the alcohol limit for drivers aged 20 years and over has lowered from 400 mcg of alcohol per litre of breath to 250 mcg. Don't get caught out this festive season. Just ahead, the little boy fighting to grow. Welcome back to Central News on TV Central. Earlier this year, we met 3-year-old Toby Dale from Hamilton, whose parents were fundraising to take him to a specialised conference in Chicago, where they could learn more about Russell-Silver syndrome, from which Toby suffers and how to treat it. Anne-Marie spoke with Toby's mum, Jackie, to find out how the conference went.
It was incredible. It was really mind-blowing. It was fantastic just to go over there and, for one, see a whole lot of kids just like Toby, at all ages, younger than him, older than him, hundreds of them all together. The best part was being able to meet with the doctors who all met in Chicago. So we saw Dr. Madeline Harbison from New York, and that was the most incredible thing.
What did the specialists recommend was the best treatment for Toby moving forward?
Well, straight away she changed the way we were feeding Toby. So I know that if we hadn't have gone over there, I would still have this child that was 24 hours on a feeding tube and vomiting 3 or 4 times a day. So straight away that advice just changed. She got me to change feeding him while we were over there, take him off some medication and put him on some different medication. She was just so experienced and she spent so much time with him and gave us a clear path of what we needed to do.
What other medications did she recommend?
We've got him on another medication called Periactin, which helps with his appetite. So one thing with Russell-Silver syndrome or small for gestational age children is that they have no appetite whatsoever. So as well as they're not being able to grow, they never want to eat. And we managed to, when I came back to New Zealand to get the medication, we found that it wasn't available in New Zealand. It had been taken off the drug list. We managed to get hold of it. We still have to pay for it, but it's not as expensive as growth hormone. So he's been on Periactin now for 2 months, and 3 days after he started on it, he's oral eating, which Toby never used to eat during the day at all. So he's now eating. We're able to get him off the tube during the day, which helps with things like starting kindy and not having to carry around his pump all day. We still have to feed him overnight with the feed, but because of what she's also helped us with his delayed gastric emptying. So now he's not vomiting, so he's a lot happier.
She also recommended growth hormone.
Well, over in America, it's standard that small for gestational age children that haven't caught up by age 2, standard are prescribed growth hormone. So it helps them grow to their genetic potential, and that's their target height based on what their parents are. So she was quite adamant that Toby should be on growth hormone, and why wasn't he on it? She also understands that New Zealand's a little bit different, so there's no category for small for gestational age children in New Zealand.
Is growth hormone funded for Toby in New Zealand?
No.
Why doesn't he meet the criteria?
Because their criteria is based only on height, and he's about 1 to 2 centimetres too tall.
How much per year does it cost for Toby to be on growth hormone?
Between $10,000 and $15,000 a year.
And how many years does he need to be on it?
Around about 10 years, so through to puberty.
So you're looking at quite a cost.
Yeah.
It's not just about height, is it?
Well, it's not just about height. It's all linked in to do with his appetite, his lack of eating, his slow growth, his muscle mass and his bone mass. So he only weighs 11 kilos. And now his identical twin brother weighs almost 18 kilos now. So Toby's a lot smaller. In fact, he's only sort of at a 1-year-old weight for where he should really be. And keeping his weight up's just a 24/7 issue with his medication and his tube feeding. So he's on the tube feed for 10 hours every night, and he's really slow to gain weight.
What difference will the growth hormone make to Toby's life and those health issues?
I think it'll be huge. He's going to start eating more. It's going to help him with his appetite, with his bone density. His bone age is only of a 2.5-year-old, and he turns 4 in December. So it's going to help him with his bones and his muscle, his immunity, cognitive. So it helps him with their cognitive intelligence and behaviour. I think lots of things. And also, Dr. Harbison was adamant that Toby should be looking at where Finn is for where he needs to be, and that's how far short he is, and that with growth hormone he's got a chance to be, as healthy as Finn.
What are you seeing in Toby now? Is he staying the same? Is he getting better, or in some aspects is he deteriorating?
Well, in some aspects I think he's deteriorating, because I can see all of his peers are, having massive growth spurts and Toby's not. So I can see how he looks so much younger than his peers at kindy. He's sick a lot, he runs out of energy, his blood sugars get low. We focus too much on trying to feed him and get calories into him, and I think he's really active. He's burning the calories too fast, so weight gain is really slow. So even though we're jumping ahead with how we feed him and stopping him from vomiting, he's not gaining the weight, and that's not going to start happening for us until he's on growth hormone.
How are you going to raise the money for growth hormone?
We're hopefully with our Give a Little site, the fundraiser that we're having at the Classics Car Museum in February, which will be fantastic. We're just doing what we can.
What's your hope for Toby?
That he's happy and healthy, and that he's not living life on the fringes socially, and he's spending more time out of hospital and being well, and that he can reach his potential.
At the moment, when you look at Toby and he's running around, because of the decreased muscle mass, does that have impact on his daily life?
Yeah, he's falling a lot and he's stumbling a lot, and he doesn't seem to have very good strength in his legs. And that seems to be getting worse. So at the moment we're unsure what's going on there. I suspect it's because his muscle mass is so small and he's so skinny.
Have you contacted Pharmac to see if they would fund, if you know, can you appeal that decision?
We're hoping to, but that's going to be a big effort, I think. Yeah.
So when, ideally, would you like Toby to start on the growth hormone?
By 4 years, he should ideally start. So, you know, he should be starting next month.
What will be the consequences for the delayed starting on growth hormone for Toby?
That it might not be as effective. So all the studies are showing, we met with one doctor who's the most published researcher on small for gestational age babies and growth hormone therapy, and she's even you know, said that starting earlier for Toby would have been better, but they all agree that by 4 they should be starting the therapy, otherwise you sort of run out of time.
To donate, go to givealittle.co.nz/cause/fund Toby. Coming up next, the party of the year. Welcome back to Central News. 2014 has been a year of celebrations for Hamilton City as it commemorated its 150th birthday. The celebrations culminated in a huge birthday party in the CBD last week, which was attended by thousands. Anne-Marie spoke with Mayor Julie Hardacre to find out how the event went.
Well, it was a big party, that's for sure. Look, the city was just buzzing. There were thousands of people, and even though the weather wasn't the best, it didn't seem to matter. Everyone came out. We had a wonderful, wonderful day. Full on, I have to say, because of course everyone was setting up in the morning, and I was in town from quite early on, and there was really an atmosphere starting to build, and people were wandering around looking as all the sort of zones were being built up. And then of course from 3 o'clock onwards, just enormous. So we had a great day. Look, we've had enormous feedback. You know, what a great way to end the year, just as we head into Christmas. Everyone came out, lots of families. The only downside, I think, was there wasn't enough birthday cake. We had 2,000 pieces of cake, and I'm not sure that, I think we could have trebled that.
What was one of the highlights on the day for you?
Look, I think it was just the fact there were so many people in the central city, really. It was just a buzz. And I was on the stage twice, looking out over Garden Place. The first was when we had the cake, and then the second just before the fireworks. And I've never seen that many people in Garden Place, actually. As far as the eye could see, there were people. And it just created such a different atmosphere in the centre of the city. And it didn't matter that it was a bit rainy. People were standing out in the rain, just really enjoying the music and all of that. Look, I really enjoyed the birthday cake. I thought that was a great thing. The fireworks were amazing. They just went on and on and on. And I enjoyed the Wintec fashion show. I couldn't believe what a standard the designs were. It was just incredible. I think the public were in absolute awe at what they were seeing. And Anna Stretton was there, and she said to me that, you know, there were some designers there who could easily front it in some of our big fashion shows. It was really great. And it was accessible for the public. For the first time, everyone could see that. But look, the petting zoo was hugely popular. Standing room only down there. And the little animals were well conditioned to little hands touching them, which was quite lovely. And the Clydesdales, of course, there was rock and roll dancing, that was great. The music was amazing. We had some great acts. So look, all in all, I loved everything. And I think the most popular thing was getting your photo taken with Captain Hamilton, because we put the photo frame around it, and there were queues to get you shot with Captain Hamilton, so that was a great thing too.
The evening culminated, of course, with the time warp with Richard O'Brien.
Yeah, so, you know, we'd finished all that, and then we all headed down, of course, to Riff Raff. And what a wonderful man he is. And we were all out there, and he was just talking to everyone. People were dressed up and getting their photos taken with him. And of course he did the time walk. He sang it, and all of us did our little moves, and the crowd loved it. And that was a great way, I think, just to end the day.
Police reported very little trouble. Do you think that was indicative of the feel-good feeling that everybody had embraced?
Look, I think it is. It was a big family day, and everyone, you know, was just in the spirit of it, really. So I think that is a reflection. Certainly when I was out and about, everyone was just wanting to have a great time.
Hamilton's had a big year of celebration this year. Looking back over the last 10, 11 months, what's been a highlight for you?
Yeah, look, I think that day was fantastic. When we had the civic ceremony in August, it was very sort of formal, but what was so neat about that, I think, was it really made people stop and think about, what our 150 years so far have been like, and some of the amazing things that have been achieved by this city. People say to me, of course, when we started life as a European settlement, we were just going to be, some small little outpost. There was never any intention, the powers that be back then, that we would become the city that we are today. Not planned, just a little sort of stopping point. And here we are today, one of New Zealand's most successful cities, and a really, really important economic base for New Zealand. So, I think we can be really proud of what we've achieved. But of course, the next 150 years is going to be exciting as well.
For more details, go to Hamilton City Council's website, hamilton.gov.nz. Right, now for our weather for Wednesday. Now looking to the seas for our marine forecast for Wednesday. That is Central News for today. If you'd like to get in contact with us, you can via our Facebook page, centralnews.tv, or email us news@tvcentral.co.nz. On tomorrow night's show, training already for next year's Relay for Life and the road trial in Matamata. Until then, I'm Hilary Entwistle. I hope you have a lovely evening.
This has been an Alpha Media production, a division of Television Media Group.
Supporting local content so you can see more of New Zealand on air.